Good evening and welcome to the April 22nd Town of Proctor Select Board meeting. If you'd all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is to review and approve the agenda. Are there any changes, additions, deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, a motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Review and approve the minutes of April 8th and April 15th special select board meeting. The motion would be in order to approve the April 8th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Motion would be in order for the April 15th special meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, motion passes unanimously. Open public comment. Is there anyone joining us virtually that would like to speak to an issue?
Phil and Charlotte said no.
Okay. We're gonna pass over our guest, and hopefully he's coming a little later. So we'll move on to status on 2651 West Street.
How about the bills?
Oh, everybody signed the bills?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Get that out. Okay, so I also have this in my manager's report, but 2651, I sent a letter, email to the residents with no response. I sent a letter to them, and she actually came in today. Said she got the letter, so I explained to her what had happened and that we did the asbestos inspection, and that there was a bill which we did pay, the town paid, but we've attached it to their taxes. So it's attached as part of their taxes. And I told her who we got, I gave her the information. She's gonna reach out to him and try to see about maybe what it would cost to hire him themselves to come, because they will also do the cleanup of anything with asbestos, to take away the windows with asbestos and the oil tank. And then I told her once those are taken out, then they can do the demolition once it's approved through the state, without, further restrictions. They can do it like they started to before. So she said she would reach out to him early next week, so I'll follow up. And if not, then I told her, if you don't take further steps, I said the town will take measures to have the stuff removed. But again, it's going to be billed to you, and it's going to be a lien on your property. So.
And was it the property owner or is it someone that's been designated?
It's been somebody designated. She's in a nursing home.
Okay. So did they provide paperwork that she's designated?
No, I have nothing from an
Okay.
attorney or anything.
Okay. I guess just in the event things don't go as smoothly as we hope, that's probably going to be the next step because.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless she's like executive of the estate or has ownership, joint ownership or something, just
Yeah,
to prove that she has
would
the
have-
right to do that.
Yeah, that she has,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, at least they came in and had a conversation.
Yes.
So that's great. All right. Timber harvest slot in Proctor.
So I attached the letter, which as you can see was quite long and lengthy and wordy. He's very detailed. So I guess tonight what I was looking for is he did go in there. He was able to walk in and he didn't mark trees yet. He just wanted to see what was in there for trees. And he said, based on like the letter that you've got, he said that, there was a lot of different, there's a lot of overhang, there's a lot of low trees, high trees. So he said there's definitely trees in there that could be cut. So I asked what the next process would be, and he said if we were to let him go forward with it, he would mark them and he would actually go out for bids for contractors to come in and take the trees and stuff. So I'm just looking for the board to let me go next steps with him so he can start this, because I told him I did want timber cut this year, because we've been way behind on that. So
What?
Just one,
Oh, I'm sorry.
go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was gonna say that the timeline on that, Judy, for cutting, was that mentioned in there? What proposed timeline?
No, I told him that I wanted them cut this year, so I would think it would be like late summer, early fall,
Okay.
that it would be done by. Yeah.
And would he be looking at all 382 acres?
No. I mean, he's looked at all, but
Yes,
that's
right,
not,
but
yeah.
just-
But the cuts wouldn't be all across the board. It would be,
Yes.
I think, selected because he said there's different, trees in there that could be cut, so.
And do we know what he charges to, mark and do that, or?
I don't, but it would be rolled into this, I believe. So once we got the timber and we got the money, it would come out of that.
Okay.
So it's not like we had to budget like $10,000
No,
to pay.
I know, but it just depends, like, sometimes, like, our forester, because you have to buy the paint, you pay his time.
Right.
And so, I mean, because we don't have a contract with them, so like, we have a contract that says, this is what you do, and then after the cut,
Right.
then we cut you a check.
Yeah.
So-
Well, he is our forester.
I know,
So-
but have we ever done a cut with him before?
No, we haven't, no,
Okay,
because
So-
the other one retired, so.
yeah. So, do we actually have a contract for performance of services then?
No, not yet.
Okay. So the next steps would be providing that?
Providing that and then giving me a time frame and a timeline and then kind of laying it out step by step, like when he plans on doing it, how he's going out to the bid, stuff like that, so.
Okay.
And I think once he starts marking, he'll have a better idea as far as number of trees and stuff.
Yeah, okay. So a motion will be in order to allow Judy to create a performance of service contract, next steps, and a timeline for the harvest on the property off Florence Road.
So moved.
Second?
Get it done.
Any further discussion?
No?
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Planning Commission Ordinance Update, short-term rentals. There's something on the table from the Planning Commission for review, so I don't know if you want to take this and look it over for the next meeting, since you just got
Yeah,
it.
because I think when I printed this out, the packets, they hadn't revised everything yet, so this is kind of a draft from them, but there were changes, so I haven't gotten that clean draft.
So there's changes in addition to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're minor, but kind of wording and things like that. But
Okay.
they wanted to bring it to the board, and I thought it was a good idea before they keep hashing it out and
Sure.
rehashing, for you guys to take a look at it, and that way if you have any strong input into it, then you can just tell them up front, so they're not kind of, they kind
Okay.
of take that into consideration.
So, how about if everybody takes and reviews it and comes back at the May meeting with any suggestions, changes, and like that, we can discuss it then, is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I just ask one clarification question?
Sure.
If you look on page 3 of the original one we were given.
Yes.
That top line, it talks about items 6 and 9.
Uh-huh.
And, it's part of the registration form. When you look at item 8, contact information for any person residing on the property and/or authorized to act on the owner's behalf, including name, mailing address, and/or physical address, telephone number. When you go to that registration form on page 1, I don't see anything there for contact information for, that,
For the,
Well, like under the name of the local property manager
yes.
or local contact?
Yeah, his contact information, number, telephone
oh,
numbers.
like another place other than the
Right.
property owner. So that might just be one thing, because I know they were looking at, I think several different, ones and kind of picking pieces they thought were, would work. So that might just be an oversight there. So that's kind of one of the things as
I'll make
we
a
look
note of
at
that,
it.
too.
Yeah,
And once they send it to me, I'll just email it to everybody so you can have a,
yeah. And maybe by then we might have a better idea of what they're doing in the legislature also.
Right.
With short-term rentals. All right. All right, local emergency management plan needs to be reviewed and approved.
So this is something that comes down from the Rutland Regional Planning Commission. It's something we do every year, and so I just updated it. If any changes as far as contact information, names. So, and the chair just has to sign off on it. But it's basically just so they have all this information, you know, in-house as to who to contact for certain situations. So
Motion to have the chair
I'll give this
sign.
to you.
Okay,
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Beaver Pond Committee and Park and Rec. So Beaver Pond has their 5th person and Park and Rec has another committee member also. So a motion would be in order to appoint Kim Metcalf as the 5th member of Park and Rec, or 5th member of Beaver Pond, and Kayla Razanouski to Park and Rec.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Motion would be in order to move in the Board of Water Commissioners.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, delinquent account shut-off letters were sent, some payments. You have a list in your packet, Judy?
So since I printed that, I just want to update you because we have received more payments. So far, there's been 5 that have come in and paid on their accounts and set up agreements. There have been 3, 4, 5 that want agreements, but they have not sent them back yet. So on all of the letters, we do have some that have been brought, you know, put a certain amount on, and then they've signed an agreement that the balance would be paid off in 12 months.
Judy, was there a time limit on the agreement time to get back?
Well, it depends. If they contacted me about, because some of them just contacted me about an agreement when they saw the guys out there looking for the shut-offs.
Okay.
So I hadn't sent the letters yet. So they, some of those I sent agreements out based on their phone call, and a few of those I haven't gotten back yet. They have them with a payout. The letters for the shut-offs, May 15th was the deadline.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So no one's signing a letter without making a payment though, right? Or
Right.
an
So far,
agreement?
everybody's put something down.
Okay. And then,
Well, one's coming in the first and paying on it.
okay. And then, these people, they miss a payment, they can be shut off
Correct.
without further notice?
Correct.
Okay. And if they don't come in and make an agreement, they can be shut off?
Right. On 15th.
Yeah. And then what are we doing about people that don't have curb stops in the right of way?
Most of them, if they don't have a curb, well, most of them, if they have a curb stop, it's not in the right of way. We basically still have the right to go in and shut it off.
Okay.
Problem is when they don't have a curb stop at all.
Okay. So are we going to put a curb stop up for the one that doesn't? Because that's one that's been habitual also. So this one?
Oh, right.
Number 4?
Right, yeah. It needs one.
How much does it cost us to put a curb stop in? Just the cost of the curb stop and the guys put them in?
Yeah, and it depends, I think, on like how far off they are from the water main. You know, and a lot of times, I mean, we've had that situation before where it's not just, they don't have a curb stop, but a few people on the street don't have a curb stop, and it's, the curb stop is the main. So then we have to start putting in curb stops for all those houses.
Okay. But that's not the count, for that one,
No,
right?
not for that.
Okay. So we anticipate if there isn't a curb stop, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy curb stops and start
We're
putting
gonna
them
start
in.
putting them in, yeah.
Okay. Any questions for Judy? And then when are we gonna do, like, so this was the top 20.
Right.
So then do we have 10 more that we can do, send out letters on May 15th?
I could send letters out for the ones that haven't, I'll send the guys the list first. And
Yeah,
have them go out to see if they have curb stops or not. Because that just kind of generates the action of them to call me and say, I want to do a payment agreement, and I'll get
Yeah.
in there. So, and then those that don't, then the letters will go out for the next 10.
okay, so we'll say that the list is gonna go to the guys, letters will go out May 15th for the next 10?
Correct.
Okay. Is that good?
Yes.
Alright. Aldrich and Elliott to assist in the lead copper inspection.
Okay, so the one that's been mandated by the state, where we have to go in and check to see what everybody's pipes are, and if they're lead leading into the house, or if they're inside the house. So, we've reached out to Aldrich and Elliott, and they said they would be willing to, help us and actually pretty much do the whole project themselves. So they said there is funding for that, up to $100,000, and it's pretty much all forgivable. So they've done this with some other towns too. So, the Public Works wanted to get kind of a jump on it, so we're gonna start this pretty soon. They wanted to get ahead of it. It has to be completed by October of this year, so.
So what would the public work guys have to do with this, if Aldrich and
They have to provide, like a listing of all the homes, the addresses and stuff. And Aldrich and Elliott have been working with them already on the asset management plan for the water, so they're kind of familiar with a lot of that. But they just have to provide them with like a listing of all the properties, and they probably would go around with them just to see, and then we'd have to notify people,
So it's every house, or it's just houses that we do testing on?
every house.
Okay. So why wouldn't the town clerk provide that, the listing of addresses? That seems like.
Well, she can provide it, but he's working with Public Works. He's not gonna work
Okay.
with the town clerk.
Now, do they look at the different zones in a home, or they just test from one water faucet, take a sample and?
Well, they don't even,
No,
they
they
don't
don't
even have to
test.
go in the home. If the people don't want them in the home, they can't go in.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like one of those, like, okay, we've got 100 homes, say, and 50 don't want us in there, then.
But if you're concerned, that's a good thing to do, is to have
Right.
it tested, to see if you do
Right,
have lead.
right.
But like, so we just did Chatterton Park, so they should know, like, those were all all the places where we just did it, that was all,
Checked all the houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they would know that, so we would,
so all those houses
All
still
them.
have to go. I mean, it just seems like there should be some records that where we've done this water project, that it would seem like it would be duplicit for them
right, as
to,
long as there's records of it all, yeah.
yeah.
I think a lot of it originates in the sweating when they do the piping internally, the copper piping.
Right.
In the, solder compound they used, it had lead in it.
And they may
Yeah,
know where the
that's
pipes
right.
like are leading up to the house, but they won't know what's in the house going
That's right.
forward,
Yeah.
so.
That's where the problem, I think, exists.
Well, except that the
Solid.
ones that we did up there, they brought it right through into your house, so that's,
But you have a distribution network in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pipes.
but they're not gonna look
If
at
they're
that.
done, prior to the time they took that lead solder off the market, well,
Right.
then you've got lead.
Yeah.
well, then I guess that begs, so to me, this is two separate things that we're looking at. So are they looking at every pipe in your house?
Well, that's why I
No,
was
they're
asking
looking
if
at
it
the
was
pipes that
only-
lead into your house.
Just
Yeah,
leading
so-
in.
And then once, if you're allowed in there, they'll go in and see what you have in there too.
But they really just need to know what's going through the wall,
Yep.
the foundation.
Yeah.
Is this a requirement or just a
Yes.
recommendation?
No, it's a requirement.
It's a
It
requirement of
came-
state.
Like probably over
Federal.
a year ago,
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Yeah. It's mandated everywhere.
How often does something like this come around? Once you
It's
do it
just
once?
something new
Well, the
because,
premise was, they said that, they're going to do the survey, and then if they found out that you know, a certain percent. This is what they said, when Michael was sharing this with us. Then they were going to provide money to help update, pipes in interior in the home. So, like if you have galvanized, then they would help, there would be some kind of fund to help subsidize to get copper or whatever in your home. I'm gonna say personally, I don't have a lot of confidence in the state doing that now. I think they're gonna probably be, surprised how many people might have galvanized pipes still in their homes.
Right.
So I am doubtful that that's gonna be, but wasn't that that was initially
Right.
the reasoning for it? Too, because of the lead and all of that they say is in the water when they check certain water samples.
And I think
So.
the incentive to help pay for it was just the ability to get into homes, and then, like Lisa said, there's no guarantee they're gonna help you pay for it once they find out what's inside the
Yeah.
home.
Right. Well, that's what I mean when I say a requirement, and you have a residence that declines entry into the house.
Right.
It's a required
Right.
survey, but the end result isn't
Right,
always, they're not gonna meet that end result if residents decline to do that.
right.
The
Right,
incentive there to get in, to do what you would want to know, I would think, if it was explained in a way.
right, and originally when it was talked about here, I think there, on the form or something, it had to say that, you had an opt-out, that you did not have to allow people to be in your house, so. Yeah,
It's just like the assessment.
well, and I think the concern is, what are they gonna do once they have all this data? Cause I don't believe that they're gonna say, oh, here's Jay Thornton, here's $15,000.
Take care of that plumbing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on.
I'm doubting that.
Me too.
Okay. Water sewer rate, oh crap, I forgot to send that today, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, okay, I will have that for May, that is on my desktop. Shoot, I meant to send that, I was by myself today, so, okay, I'll have
Just
that.
put it to the May.
Yeah, I'll send that to you so that can
Okay.
be printed out. My apologies for that. All right, any other business for the Board of Water Commissioners? Hearing none. The motion will be in order to move into the Board of Sewer Commissioners.
So moved. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, Judy?
So the asset management plan that Aldrich and Elliott did for our wastewater treatment facility has been finalized. Once they shared it with us, they have to send it to the state for approval, and the state has signed off on it. So they would like to kind of get together and kind of figure out going out for a bond in November, and then going out for bids for that work.
Okay, I think that if that's the plan, there hasn't been a lot of conversation, you know,
Right.
like talking about the reason why or what that's gonna do, so, could they maybe come like virtually to the next meeting and just have a little spiel about what it is that we're looking at,
Yep, definitely.
just informational wise, so that at least we're starting to get it out there, because I don't think most people have any idea.
No,
So, at least
Okay.
start that.
right. I mean, everybody was shared the asset management plan, but it's very, very detailed, so.
No, I don't mean us,
Oh,
I
you
mean
mean
like
the
the public
public,
in
okay.
general. Yeah, I mean, if you want people to vote for something in November,
Right, well, yeah, I definitely think we need to know, like, get them out so they're aware of
yeah,
everything.
so if they could come and talk to us, give us an idea, you know, give an overview of what that's going to be, and then, I think you need to have, you know, we can talk to them then, but I think you need to have some kind of, you know, meetings during
Public
this.
information?
Yeah,
Yeah.
before you're just doing public information for a bond.
Right, well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so, I think, which might require them or someone being in person and doing that, so. And we could talk to them about that when they come, but I think the more you have out there talking
Definitely.
about it. so.
And even by then, maybe like, once we have a meeting, just us with them, and then we open to a public meeting, by then hopefully we'll have some answers back from either Rutland Regional Planning for that grant that they were gonna help
Yeah,
us with.
yeah.
Or the congressional funding, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, I think that was included in their cost estimate of doing a public meeting.
Right,
somewhere
yeah,
along
yeah,
the-
because I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd want to, yeah,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that are gonna better answer all the details
yeah.
that people ask.
yeah, okay, that sounds great.
Okay.
All right, anything else for Board of Sewer? Hearing none, motion to move out of the Board of Sewer Commissioners back to the regular Select Board meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have the sheriff's report. Any questions about that?
One of the officers did come in and see me this past week, just to kind of update me on things, see what's happening, and he said that they have been getting a lot of people speeding, coming in on the West Proctor Road, and, over by LaFon's on Route 3 coming into town.
61, did you see that one?
Yeah.
61 miles an hour there.
That's the second one in 3 months.
That is just insane. Can you imagine if someone was crossing the street there or something, or?
No.
Hayden wouldn't see him.
That was a sizable
Yes.
amount.
Well, one
Yeah,
person
that get
got,
their
the one who
attention.
got 3 of them, one
Yeah.
person got 3 tickets,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not his lucky day.
All right, town managers report.
All right, so, we had a Beaver Pond meeting. We asked for the gate to remain open at the pond. Looking for board feedback, we met at the meeting and shared a couple ideas of what we thought as far as the Beaver Pond, kind of redesigning it more, like limiting the number of tables, chairs down there and making it more consistent. Cause some furniture's been added along the way, people bring chairs down, leave it there. So I think, if the board has any kind of feedback, I think it's good to have support, or if you want the Beaver Pond Committee to come to a meeting maybe. So, I don't know if, I even talked to Public Works and they were big on having the gate left open. They've, saw no problem with it. Some of the things have like been painted on them and we don't want, and by people, not like people using the park or anything, but other people to identify that it's Proctor property. So I've asked to kind of get rid of that. I feel like the pond was cleaned up nicely and I'd like to see it just with like 5 tables, 5 grills, just kind of evened out and just kind of a kind of more park look to it than kind of just random stuff thrown down there and everything, so. And I think the less you have some time, and I think a couple of them felt less is better too. You have people who want to use the picnic tables and the grill, fine, but chairs start getting thrown places, and in the water, and they mentioned even having a porta potty down there, which I said,
Oh, I think that's a bad idea, but.
not a good idea.
What, you went to the meeting, Jay?
I did.
Thoughts?
I got a few suggestions for the committee, yeah. Regarding maybe stone, there was some ideas on how to level these tables so they're not being moved around. I think they're being moved around to try to find a level spot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak with maybe Dale or the committee at the next meeting and bring these suggestions up. I think the cost of it would be minimal to none.
Okay.
Just to maybe level it out and get, when you say more organized, simplified, better a look to it, I think, with the, the stone. And
Yeah.
I can look into that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a good meeting with good input, with Judy there helping out.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think the whole gate thing, the gate open just is a little more welcoming and,
Yeah.
you know, there was never a gate before when it was Omea.
No,
So,
right, and I don't know why the gate, of course, everybody's got an idea as to why it
Yeah.
should be there, not there.
yeah, Albert?
I was just gonna say, there was one member of the past committee that reached out to me and said the reason for that gate was they had people doing extended camping,
Oh,
Yeah,
you know, in the area.
okay.
yeah.
Something
In
to
in the early
Curb
spring
that,
and
right,
fall.
and get them to move along. When they say extended, I think there were times they were up there more than a week with their vehicles parked, you know, right in there.
Yeah,
You're living out of their vehicles and that was their camping ground, so
yeah.
Yeah.
that's what I think drove them to come up with the gate.
Yeah, we had that
That's what he
issue
told
last
me,
year.
so.
I think the person was there for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
Um,
it seems like it was
And then there's also a sign that's kind of deceiving because it says, you know, you can camp out here with, you know,
A permit.
a permit. So, and that's another thing, I think we need to take some of the signs down because every tree has a green sign, you know, like no wood burning, you know, charcoal only, and stuff like that, take garbage out. And it was such a simple, natural pond before, and I feel like should stay that way and just give people the opportunity to go down there and sit and cook and, you know, fish. So, but yeah, I just got a message today that somebody said that they heard somebody was down the pond, in a car overnight. And I got the same call over the weekend about somebody on Route 3 on the pull-off, and I have a feeling it's the same person.
that person hasn't, I don't think that person's moved.
Well, when I went by last night, they
There's a
weren't.
pickup there now.
Oh, was there?
Oh,
Okay.
The other day I saw somebody
Right.
changing clothes. They had
Yes.
the trunk open
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
changing clothes.
yeah.
So I have a feeling they might have moved down, so I asked them to tell me what the car looked like that was
Yeah.
down there, so.
But
we
I
have
mean, the
sheriff's-
reality is even if you put even if you had the gate lock, you still have a huge pull off over there up at the pond. So I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
and the interesting part is we're, you know, so concerned about that, but you can see where four-wheelers have gone up and down the bank like madmen there, and no one seems to be concerned about that, which is slightly ironic, I think, or the way people ride their four-wheelers around the pond on the road, so,
Well,
which is
They
interesting.
they put berms and they put concrete barriers, but they just go around them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know, I mean, I think the goal was when the pond was first taken over was that it was going to stay essentially as it had been, that we weren't going to be, you know, restricted, not that we want people, you know, camping up there and making it a campsite, but, yeah, we drive around a lot, I've never seen anybody else.
well, the sheriff's department, you know,
Yeah.
in their patrol may notice somebody
Yeah.
parked in there that.
And I don't, that they've ever mentioned it either, so.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure there's anomalies to it,
And
but,
they're good as far as, because I contacted them last week about people parking on the sidewalks, you know, like all day, all night and stuff, and that it's illegal to park on sidewalks. So I noticed now the car that I complained about and others did is not on the sidewalk any longer. So
Yeah.
they do go by and they do ticket them or talk to them. He did tell me though that if people have complaints, it's much better for them to reach out to them directly rather than to me or somebody else on the board, just to reach out to the sheriff's department.
Sure.
So then they can deal with it directly.
Yeah.
So get that word around.
okay,
And there's also a new Beaver Pond trail map too that has been printed up, so
great.
just
Oh,
to
is
share
that
that.
new, Judy, since the last?
No, the one he shared at the last meeting.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, and a park and rec meeting?
But, so we had Parks and Rec meeting, talked about the, event that, for honoring Ben Curtis, which is gonna be the day before the Memorial Day Parade. The schools are participating in it, so we're kind of working closely with them on what we're doing. The Tapestry wants to go to the pool one day a week this year as well. They're looking at opening the pool Tuesday through Saturday, dependent on the number of lifeguards they have. And available.
Tapestry from, not from here, tapestry from,
The school.
Elementary school?
oh, I thought you said I thought you,
Oh,
It's-
Northwest School.
Yeah.
Northwest, Rutland Northwest.
Okay, I was
Oh, I was
like,
like-
we're not Tapestry, we're Boys
No.
and Girls Club, okay.
Yeah, so, and I think it was a Wednesday that they were looking at going
Okay.
up there. And then Gannon is gonna, go up, he's gonna start going up early to start cleaning out and stuff.
Yep.
The guys are gonna start laying the tarps down, and then I think I told you this before, that the pipe that was sealed off last year is gonna be fixed prior to the opening, which is June 10th, is the first time it's gonna be used up
Yep.
there.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Gannon for, I mean, looking at the data and changing the dates or the days and like that based on data. I think that's something we've asked for and talked about, so it's nice, you know.
Yeah, no, he seems very
Yeah,
into
to
it
try
this year
that
stuff,
and
so.
see, you know, I'm sure the lifeguards will probably like to have
Right.
a couple of days off together like that too, and it's nice to be able to extend and have an extra day also. So when we look at Tapestry and they do that, we definitely would charge them.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to find in the past where we have and what we did, so.
Yeah, I don't know Rutland if we've had West Rutland come before. So there probably would have been a charge on that. We
Yeah.
obviously don't charge our kids here to go up there.
Right,
So, yeah, I guess it would depend on the number of kids.
right, how many there are and what they have to.
Yeah, but they should be kind of like this here. You should have a group,
Right,
you know, I
Right.
have like 6 kids or something like that, so, yeah. Okay, that's great. That's a little revenue up for them up there.
that's right. I asked about roller skating during summer camp, and they said that what they'll try to do is have roller skating like either mornings or one specific day for the camp, and then kids in the town can also go up as long as they have supervision. So they just don't want to run the school and then have like, 5 little kids come that don't have any supervision, and they have to supervise them as well, because it's like you can't just walk in and grab your skates. You've got to be given skates, got to be cleaned up after, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're gonna try to work with them so that they can do that.
And maybe they could get a couple teenagers to help during that time for community service.
Right.
They could probably reach out to the school and see if people need that for the P, to get the P. That's one of the things, that's points towards your P for graduation, so.
So I met with the Public Works too, and I've asked them, what we did is we sat down and went over spring, summer work requests, and we made a list of everything that they have planned out.
Cool.
For going forward. So I said to them, rather than doing a daily login of every second of what they're doing, I felt like it was a waste of their time, and sometimes it's just repetitive because you're doing, certain things every day, like sweeping, mowing, doing things like that. So I want to kind of look at the big picture items and then keep them on task there, but they're pretty much really already starting to get out there and do things, so.
So I know there's been a lot of chit chat about storm cleanup, but they're out doing that,
Yeah.
working on that a little bit at a time,
Yeah.
okay?
Yep. And a lot of the things they've had to put on hold just because of the wet.
Yeah.
It's been so muddy and so damp that there's certain things they can't do
Yeah.
until it dries up. But they've been trying to fill in like some potholes and things like that.
Yeah,
But it's quite a list, and we went over it, and they kept adding to it, so it's good. And I can share that with everybody too.
okay, great.
So a question on the paving, streets, where we're gonna pave. Who decides the best areas, the most needed? Is that,
It's usually Public Works, like they give me an updated list
okay,
of what.
so that hasn't come out yet?
No, it has, yeah. We already decided this year and then even next year,
Oh, okay.
going into next year.
It's usually created during budget season,
Okay,
so you can kind of build your budget around what you think you can and can't pave.
okay.
So what they're looking to do is from the geology building to the 5 Corners, Main Street, and then from the 5 Corners down to North where they should have actually finished when they did the bridge, and they did up to Pleasant, down to Eden, and then a mile out, I think it's a mile and 191 feet, down by Beaver Pond, Florence Road.
That really needs it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's fine, I was just curious, because I hadn't been in that loop,
Right. Yeah. So I actually started doing the advertising bids, putting that together to get them out early, so.
Lisa, can I ask you a question?
Sure, John.
I just listened to something that I didn't like to hear, that I think Albert Winter, he worked for L2s, and I think when he worked there, he had to be accountable for every minute at L2 and what he did at L2. I know at Casellas is the same thing. All employees have to be accountable for every hour. All right, and then to give them a free range like you just said, it doesn't work. I just start putting in my opinion, all right?
Okay.
I'm very upset with that, because once a person gets away with a little bit, he starts taking more and more. And I got employees too, and I know you can trust your employees all you want, but once he takes one boat, then he takes another one. And it just keeps going on, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm very concerned about this highway. All right, it's like, I looked at the equipment, I took pictures of the equipment. The equipment it's shambles. So I'm just concerned they should be accountable for everything they do, so if something comes back to haunt them, they got records of it. If they don't, I mean, the storm drain is a good example. They never touched the storm drains last year, and they never touched nothing. Mine's full of leaves, and it still is.
Well, I know they've touched the storm drains last year because I saw them doing it when, at the stop sign down on Holden, as you go on Park Street there. So I know that that's inaccurate, but I don't think that
It's very simple.
personally, and maybe the board feels different, but Judy is the town manager and she oversees the employees. Judy is our employee. The employees and the town manager form of government fall under her, and she oversees them, reviews them, evaluates them, works with them on projects, the budget, and those kinds of things. And, you know, I guess I don't like to think about starting a relationship with someone in the negative. If you think someone's going to do something disingenuous or negatively, I mean, that's just not a way to start a partnership. And I don't know that we have that. I don't feel like that's the relationship we have with DPW. Kyle came in here. I mean, they're already doing the work. We're not rehiring someone. So I think let him see how this summer goes and see what happens. There's a lot of projects on the paper and there's a lot of work to be done this summer. Do I think you have to account for every single minute? I think if my board said to me at my job, you need to account for what you do every single hour, that would probably result in a deeper conversation. I don't know that that's necessary. Projects takes longer than an hour. If you're on a project for, half a day, paperwork is tedious. So.
We know what happened before, and I don't want to see an exodus of employees because you're standing over them.
Right. Exactly.
So we'll review it as we go along. I think projects are happening, things are getting done. And that's what you do. You review things every month or quarterly to see what the project is and what the output is.
So you don't care what the citizens see and all this stuff?
What the citizens see? I don't know what that means, John. I mean, if there's something egregious happening, then I would think that those individuals would come and see Judy because she is the responsible party. I'm unaware of people coming and sharing anything egregious that has transpired with the DPW.
I just gave you fair warning, that's all I'm saying.
I've only had positive feedback about Public Works.
And
Other than John.
also another thing, all right, she don't even know how much it costs to do a shut-off. She should know all this. If she's a road commissioner, the road commissioner should know exactly what it costs to do things, roughly. I remember this, I know what it costs.
You do a shut off, what's it cost?
Let's start out with a shut-off valve.
Okay.
And she should know this. You guys should know what it costs to operate the town highway. The only thing you got is a $500,000 budget. And the last thing I'm gonna say is, the pipes. Lead pipes. This whole town's full of lead pipes. Elmer, you know that. I dug up some shut-off valves in this town. They're all lead. It's the old way they used to do it. They lead the joints.
You're talking water lines, mains?
Water lines, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought most of those were replaced, but
No, there's still a lot of them in this town. There's still lead joints.
Well,
out at the main, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot.
I guess we'll find out based on the project that the state is overseeing and mandating. So the upside to that is that it doesn't appear that it's going to take a lot of our time and that the money that's available, the grant or the loan is 100% forgivable,
Well,
so.
I'm just saying, all the old pipes are lead joints.
Well,
I think
when we
that's-
get that report, I'll make sure you have a copy of it, so. All right, moving on. Anything else, Judy?
Let's see, just the roll-offs for dump day were ordered, being delivered on the 3rd of May and picked up on I think they decided the 7th because they wanted to go pick up the green bags.
Okay.
So,
And do
notices
we
are-
have the printout that we can start posting about things you can't bring?
Yeah, it's down, so downstairs are the permits that everybody can get to
And
go for
that's
dump
down
day,
there
and
too?
then there's a list of everything, yeah.
Okay, and so just a reminder for people, you need to get a permit downstairs. The permit is free, you just need to come in and get it, and then the second trip is $20.
Yep.
All right,
And is there also for the hazardous waste pickup, the sheet to fill out prior to going down there with what you're bringing?
I have an old one, I requested a new one and I'm kind of concerned because it bounced back to me, so I don't know if that individual
That's
is.
a bottleneck. If you
There.
have to
yeah,
document
Well, it's
everything
just
you're bringing
easier.
ahead of time.
Right, yeah, it's easier to do it ahead of time.
yeah, all right, so we'll see if we
Yeah.
can get something for that, so. I know, that seems to be the downside with people bringing stuff down there, and
And
the price sheet too.
yeah, there's a sheet for hazardous waste for certain prices on
So
certain
maybe if we
items.
could get that, so we
Yeah,
could post
yeah.
that too, because I know people were surprised last time that they had to pay to get rid of some stuff, so.
And one of the big problems are, it's 11 to 1, and people will go down for dump day at 9, and they're not there, so they just leave their hazardous
Yeah.
waste, and we can't let them do that.
Yeah, no?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well,
All right. I mentioned preparing the paving bid. Had a couple complaints this week on barking dogs and parking on sidewalks. Nothing too major. I mentioned about the sheriff visiting. East Street lot was sold, and a double wide trailer is being placed there. So that one where the fire was is going to have a home there now. Fire department is having issues with flooring at the station, cracking and receding. So I walked over there, talked to them, they showed it to me. They're concerned with the trucks, not so much, the trucks they have now are heavy, but the new truck, when they get it, is much heavier. And they're just afraid that it's just gonna go into the floor. So they asked about getting an engineer over there to test the flooring to see what could be done. So if anybody knows, when the building was torn down over there, it was just torn down and put down into the hole and then covered over. So some of the stuff is kind of movement, the movement, the rotting and stuff, so it's causing the floor to crack quite strongly across there. So
so can we find out what the cost would be for the engineer?
yeah, I'm gonna reach out to some of the ones that we have for the at-ready, so we don't have to, and if the cost is, below 3,000, where I
Yeah.
have to go to bid, then, but I wouldn't think it would cost that much, because I think it would be somebody just going in there and kind of examining, the structure. But I think there's certain places
But they
that
might want
the
to do
holes-
the test
Or
holes.
holes.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's when the cost starts to,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll check with a few of them though, but I just wanted you to know, to make sure it's okay to go ahead with that, so.
No, I think, I think definitely go ahead
Okay.
and find that out, sure.
Okay. And then, another thing, it was raised about, like, maintenance, over there for fire department, if they are supposed to be following too, if something's over $3,000, going out for bid for it.
If they're supposed to?
Yeah.
So I would presume they would have to follow the same rules as everybody in the town because
Right.
they basically operate under the umbrella of the town. I know they're a
Right.
501(c), but they're
Yeah.
operating through the budget.
Right.
That's why we have a budget.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, they need to adhere to, yeah, whatever that limit is about going out to bid, all
Okay.
of that. So,
Procurement policy.
yeah.
All right, and the stumps on South Street are supposed to be removed this week. And that's it.
All right.
Now we have Rutland Regional Planning.
Yep.
Hello everyone. So this will be pretty brief, but I'm just following up on the update I last gave you on the Municipal Technical Assistance Program. This program has changed yet again, but not in a way that should be substantially affecting the project that we have submitted on behalf of the town of Proctor. So the short of it is that the deadline to submit projects changed from June 30th to April 30th because the state is running out of money for the program. So they were initially accepted a couple projects that they funded with a ton of money, probably maybe too quickly, and then realized that the pot of money overall was quickly shrinking. Said, okay, we're going to stop accepting any more projects until April 30th. We're going to take all the other ones that have been submitted, evaluate them all together, and then decide what does or does not get funding from there. So for the town of Proctor, we have submitted a request for funding to assist with the wastewater lagoon maintenance project, dredging process, and hopefully that will directly cover the engineering costs, and then also assist with being able to find more funding for the actual maintenance itself. But as I said earlier, this program is quickly running out of funding itself, so there are no guarantees as to whether anything will get funding. So we will know very soon, though, because once they review it all on April 30th, hopefully we'll be notified by sometime early in May.
So basically with the ranking system, I mean, we're at the bottom of the list, so if the money's consumed within the first 5 towns, then
Yeah,
It's-
So
That's what
how,
this-
what is the, explain the ranking system to us.
so the ranking system is called the Vermont Communities Index, and it's a system that really only exists in the context of this program. They created the index to evaluate projects moving through this particular program, but it attempts to determine a town's capacity and need, which means like capacity would refer to how under-resourced the town is, and then need would refer to, for instance, like if it got hit severely by flooding in the past 2 years, various natural disasters.
Well, so give me an example of what the town of Timoth has submitted as a project.
So Timoth has submitted. Timoth did not have very many ideas for a project to begin with, but their project is relating to the creamery building, which is behind their town office. It's a structure that has been there for, I believe, well over 100 years, but it's collapsing, and they are hoping to get historic preservation improvements on that structure. Because the back wall is collapsing.
So the funding, so this as a funding source, that's a whole different funding source, historic preservation. So
Yeah.
this is just ranking for all funding?
This ranks, so the Municipal Technical Assistance Program in the first place was originally intended to allow smaller municipalities that did not have the capacity to write grants themselves to allow use of the Regional Planning Commission as a grant writer. and
Okay.
allow them to access other funding. It's a very strange program.
Well, one would think, because how are you determining capacity and need from a wastewater treatment facility and a building someone's had in their town for 100 years and they've let it fall in?
Yeah,
I mean, so there's no, all of these towns have submitted?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And all the capacity and need scores are based on ranking of the capacity and need of the town overall, not and specifically the town government. And that's why Proctor's at the bottom of the score, because Proctor has high capacity and
High capacity for what? High capacity to do the project?
to be able to apply for grants on its own.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Why do I
don't-
think this is created to fund somebody at Rutland Regional and a project to fund a job at the state? I mean, this doesn't even make any sense.
It does not make much sense.
And how much money was in this to begin with?
Overall, the state $3 million, and then they allocated. Well, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but well over 100,000 to several small projects, and then ran the funding down pretty significantly.
So the reason the money's run down is because they've already expended it to other.
Yeah, they have,
Patients,
it's encumbered to different projects. Yeah.
So instead of giving like 3 million and saying each town gets like 500,000 or something, they just gave it away, and then as it trickled, as it
Yeah,
got
it was-
reduced, then all of a sudden the money's evaporated. It's
Yeah, it was a first come, first served basis, and then they modified it once they realized they were running out of funding to make it like, okay, now we're going to take the rest of all the projects, evaluate them together, which is, personally, I think that would have been a good
Okay.
strategy from the beginning. But the other thing that this program potentially could do is directly pay for engineering costs, and that's what we're hoping to do with
Sure.
the wastewater lagoon project. And we've also steered a lot of other towns in that direction. So if there are grants that you already have open, but the costs are exceeding the current grant that you have for the project, then we can try to get this to pay for engineering costs related to that project, hopefully, lowering the overall cost of the town. That seems to be both based on what we've seen from other parts of the state and also within our region to be the most useful way of going about this program. Because it is, you're right in thinking that it's odd and it's also not easily effective.
It's not comprehensive.
It doesn't really make sense.
No.
I think there was the thought behind it originally was that, okay, well, we want to allow, we're seeing like the smaller towns don't access grant funding as much, we want to help them do that, and that was what went through the legislature last year, but the rollout was not such that it was done in an effective way. So that's where we are now.
So we should know by April 30th whether or not we're getting any funding? Is that
I
true?
would believe that it's more or less what we
Well,
know by sometime early May,
right.
if that's the
Okay.
deadline.
And they notify us or notify you?
I would hope that they notify both.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think that for Proctor, since the wastewater lagoon project is coming up, this is definitely the best use for the.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Right.
But wanted to give the update on the change in the
Appreciate it.
timeline and everything. Yeah, it's a strange program. But.
Does anyone outside of yourself determine the use, the merit of the use? You just said, that Proctor's project,
Well, ultimately,
I think it's just up and up a year, probably.
oh, I have no say over whether a project is approved or not. Devin and I have been writing out these submission forms to the state. We send them off, and then the agency administration decides what projects are approved and which aren't. And we've requested as much information about that process as possible to allow for hopefully better results, but so far I've not gotten a ton of guidance. So
The clarity is lacking. Okay. And what about, last time you were here, we also penned the, survey for the, regional plan. Do you know how many people in Proctor have done that?
Not off the top of my head, but I can get that number to you. And
Sure. Could you email Judy and just let us know how many
Yeah,
people have taken
of
that?
course. Yeah.
Okay. That would be
I
great.
know that it was just about 1,000 people throughout the entire Rutland region.
Yeah, so,
I think it may have been somewhere between 30 and 50 in Proctor.
okay, well, that's not terrible.
I can
Does
get
that
you
count the 5 times I took it? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we had 70 people at the town meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else new and exciting coming up for us in Proctor that that you're involved with? Share with us?
So the Vermont Marble Company building across the way is about to have a phase 2 brownfields environmental assessment done on it. And that is just beginning right now. It took a while to get the contract worked out, but Stone Environmental is the firm that's doing it, and they will be on site shortly. The timeline for the assessment is through early September, although I think that they'd be done earlier than that, and I can send the report to all of you once it's completed.
You could just send it to Judy, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, that is the most extensive part of the brownfields assessment process, and once it's complete, then you'll have a full idea of what pollution is or isn't in the ground at that site, which will then move toward a cleanup phase, hopefully, where the site is remediated and then can be redeveloped. And Zion Growers is the company that's currently owning that property. And I know there's it's both collaboration and also some other stuff going on between them and the town right now, but we're wanting to support the redevelopment of that property. So that is using EPA funding for that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Does anybody have questions? Okay.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, have a good night. I will get the survey number.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, we'll need to move into executive session. I move to find that premature general knowledge regarding the town's status with Zion Growers will clearly place the town at a substantial disadvantage because the select board risks disclosing its strategy if it discusses the proposed terms in public. A motion would be in order.
Motion to move into executive session.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the town's status with Zion Growers under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1A of the Vermont statutes. A motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we will move into executive session at 7:08.